I can now welcome Ihab Matar, member of the Lebanese Parliament, who joins me now in the studio. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you on. So, as I just mentioned there, Israeli jets have struck several towns in southern Lebanon, and that's after Israel urged residents to leave.
Sure.
How concerning is this latest warning as Israel does intensify strikes on Lebanon?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Obviously, this is very concerning. The escalation today is a sign of the obstacles we have in Lebanon to be able to start making Lebanon a better place for, obviously, our people. Now, the decision today by Hezbollah to reject all calls for negotiation between Israel and Lebanon is absurd, is irrational, and in fact is irresponsible. On the other side, now what Israel is doing is raises the question, does Israel hold any interest in an actual negotiation, or all the talks here is just to try and then buy time, and then Israel's interest in territorial expansion is an ongoing issue for us, still causes a risk that there will never be a long-standing stability in the region. Now, obviously, our concern is for the people of Lebanon. What's happening today makes us, put the question back to Hezbollah to say, your decision today in your own beliefs may be, having some, obviously, like benefits to you, but it's causing actually escalation in the region. Having said that, we don't agree, and we don't believe that Israel needs to be provoked, but any reason to cause Israel to be retaliating when we can avoid it, especially after our president, Joseph Aoun, said and declared that he's willing to start negotiation. And he clearly said that obviously negotiations don't happen between friends or allies. They happen between opponents and between enemies. So this is a clear statement that as Lebanese, we see Israel as an enemy, but we still need to be talking to them to be able to create a stable, environment for the people of Lebanon.
So it's really interesting. We've just had the conversation there. You mentioned Hezbollah saying that they don't want Lebanon to enter talks with Israel. But Israel's side of it, it says it's intensifying strikes. And the reason it's doing that is because Hezbollah is rearming itself in Lebanon. And this is a clear violation of the ceasefire deal that was signed with Israel. And this is where the big conversation is happening at the moment. Can you give me any concrete examples right now about how the Lebanese government is working to disarm Hezbollah and what steps it's taking? Because this is clearly something that Israel is seeing as a violation to that ceasefire.
Yeah, well, to be quite honest with you, we don't actually believe that Hezbollah has the ability to be able to be rearming themselves. We believe that Israel is actually creating a reason for them to continue the escalation and then the attacks. Having said that, both sides have actually not complied with the ceasefire agreement. But more importantly, both sides, Israeli and Hezbollah, did not comply with the 17-hour resolution when it first came out in 2006. And obviously, we had to go into a period where there was always issues between Israel and Hezbollah. Hezbollah did not give up their arms from 2006 by not complying to the 17-hour resolution. At the same time, Israeli kept attacking Lebanon. And now what the government is doing all it can to be able to apply the ceasefire agreement in all its points. There was clearly some decisions made by the government. Now, Israel is not allowing the Lebanese government, in my opinion, enough time to be able to make sure that those agreements are actually met by the deadlines. Our deadline was until the 31st of December. What Israel should be doing, it should be withholding all attacks on Lebanon until the 31st of December. This is the deadline for the first stage of the roadmap made and then provided by the Lebanese army for Israel to be, for Hezbollah to be surrendering their arms, at least in the south of the Litani.
Yeah. It's really interesting hearing you talk there, because many people are saying Hezbollah's weapons are part of Lebanon's safety against an aggressive Israel. How does Lebanon protect itself if Hezbollah disarms? Do you have the strength to do that?
We don't believe our military capability will be the answer to any potential attack, whether being by Israel or by anyone else.
But can you guarantee that Israel will stop attacking you?
We can't guarantee, but we'll have to rely on diplomacy. We'll have to rely on the support that has been provided to Lebanon by the Friends of Lebanon, that once an agreement is done and once an agreement is complied with, then both sides of the parties will actually have to respect this agreement.
So I understand that, but we have seen what's happened in Gaza. And is Lebanon not thinking we need Hezbollah, we need weapons to some degree, and that could be why we haven't seen this disarmament happen?
As a member of parliament, I can clearly tell you more than half of the parliament, the majority of the parliament, does not agree with the fact that Hezbollah is a resistance, is a legal resistance. What we are saying that Hezbollah has maintained its militia approach because they're not complying with all the decisions done by the government. So no, we don't believe that Hezbollah needs to have their arms. Most of the Lebanese parliament, most of the Lebanese people, in fact, don't believe that Hezbollah needs to maintain its weapon arms to be able to protect Lebanon. Again, we believe that the government is responsible to protecting Lebanon. We believe diplomacy, and we believe an agreement that can be done and that is be done, and after negotiation, hopefully, negotiation should take place. And if we look at Gaza, we've seen that there's been improvement and there's been advancement in the situation there because there's been a political approach and there's been a political and diplomatic approach to trying and solving the problem. War and attacks did not solve the issue in Gaza because Israel could have continued forever and the Palestinians and Hamas would have resisted forever. Yes, maybe there were many civilians, they were dying, many injuries, many forms of destructions, but the war only stopped when there was an agreement made. And I think Lebanon can go down this road, and I think if we agree to start negotiation, no matter the forms, no matter the place, no matter the location, no matter the terms, if we start negotiation, I think we will end up having a better position for the Lebanese people, maybe a long-standing agreement that can provide stability, not only for Lebanon, not only for the Lebanese people, but for the region at large.
So we're talking there about diplomacy. And that's what you think is going to end the hostilities that we're seeing between Hezbollah and Israel. Do you think that the government's doing enough? And I know that you yourself, you're an independent MP. What is your red line for supporting the government? When are you going to say enough is enough and go to the opposition? Do you think the Lebanese government is doing what it should be?
Once I see the government working against the interest of the Lebanese people, I will definitely be opposing the government's approach. For now, all we're saying that the President Joseph Aoun, the Prime Minister, is doing, they are doing all they can to be able to work in the interest of the Lebanese people. The interest of the Lebanese people is to stop the war, to have a stable period, a long-standing period of stability, to work on economic reforms, to work on financial reforms, to work on prosperity. This is what they are doing. Obviously, they are facing obstacles because in the mentality of people who have been ruling the country for many decades, they really work based on the personal interest and the interest of the political parties and not the interest of the people. As long as the government is doing all they can, regardless of the results, because we know the results are maybe not directly related to the will, especially in Lebanon, because the will is there, the decisions are there, the proper decisions are made, but to be able to implement all the decisions and to be able to apply them, you need more than one party to come to join forces and then to come to the party. In my opinion, the government has my full support. The government has the support of many of the Lebanese people. President Joseph Aoun has obviously the support from us to go back to diplomacy. And then a good example of how can diplomacy create a better environment and then solve a problem and maybe stop a war is the effort done by obviously the Arab countries and mainly by Mohammed bin Salman, His Excellency, to try and then get many countries to recognize Palestine as a state. This was a big step forward towards solving the issue. We agree that solving the issue ultimately will have to be based on the two-state solution. The two-state solution will not happen without people recognizing that there is a Palestinian state, and this is what Saudi Arabia has done. And obviously this was a blow to Israel's plan to expansion and then to occupying Palestine. So again, diplomacy is the key.
So for you, diplomacy is the key. It's been really interesting to have you on my show. Thank you so much for coming to speak to me, Ihab. It's been a pleasure. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.